Good morning and welcome to Protecting Children from Online Predators. My name is Rob Marks, Director of Corporate Marketing at immixGroup, host of today's presentation. For those of you unfamiliar with immixGroup, we provide technology products and services to the public sector. immixGroup is one of the fastest growing private companies in the D.C. metro area. And since our founding in 1997, we've sold over $3.5 billion in technology products and services to every federal government agency, as well as many major state, local organizations nationwide. Our IT Solutions Division provides IT planning, execution, and support services in three related areas: cybersecurity, information management, and project management. Today's presentation will run about an hour, including time set aside for questions and answers. Please feel free to enter your questions into the pod to the left of your main screen. I'll be collecting them for the Q&A period following the presentation. In addition, this webinar is being recorded, and an archive link will be emailed to you within the next few days. Please note the toggle button near the bottom left of the presentation pod that reads Full Screen. At this time, you are invited to click on this toggle in order to better view the presentation screen. At the end of the presentation, you will be asked to toggle back to this view in order to enter any questions you may have into the Q&A pod. Today's speaker is Claude Davenport, Senior Project Manager for the CETS initiative with immixGroup's IT Solutions Division. Claude manages the immixGroup team currently supporting DHS's efforts in battling child exploitation online. Now I'd like to turn our presentation over to Claude.
Thanks, Rob. Good morning, and thank you for attending the webinar this morning. I'm Claude Davenport, Senior Project Manager with the CETS initiative at the immixGroup. Today I'll be talking about Microsoft's Child Exploitation Tracking System, or CETS. Some of its investigative solutions, some of the key benefits and capabilities. After our presentation, we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Rob's already given you a quick overview, but here's a little bit more information about immix and our IT Solutions Division. The IT Solutions Division is immix's IT services organization, providing public sector customers with comprehensive IT services in the areas of cybersecurity, information management, and project management. We have extensive experience supporting law enforcement agencies such as Department of Justice, U.S. Secret Service, ATF, DHS, and the FBI, just to name a few. As for me, I retired from DHS's Homeland Security Investigations in December 2007 as the Chief of the Child Exploitation Section at the Cyber Crime Center after 24 years of federal service. In January of 2008, I returned to federal service with DHS as a reemployed annuitant and as the National Program Manager on the Child Exploitation Tracking System project. I was retired again in 2010, December, when the agreement expired. After a fantastic 6 weeks retirement, started with immixGroup as the Senior Project Manager over immixGroup's initiative. immixGroup worked with CETS actually began with DHS CETS project in December 2004. But one aspect of the work we perform with law enforcement in support of our mission to combat child exploitation is what we're focusing on today. Well, that's enough about immixGroup and me. Let's take a look at CETS. This quote is from the Congressional Record of the Senate on September 7, 2004. In effect, it states that government is not set up to actively share information. Although government has vast amounts of information, its systems are weak in processing and making maximum use of that information. The National Commission on Terrorist Attacks upon the United States stated in part, biggest impediment to all source analysis to a greater likelihood of connecting the dots is the human or systemic resistance to sharing information. I'm willing to bet that all of us have experienced both this within our own agencies and between agencies. So what is the problem? Investigative data and intelligence are siloed in case management systems at every police agency, be it municipal, county, state, or federal agency. Many agents' case records are still stored in paper files or on an individual investigator's laptop or desktop. Information sharing is accomplished through physical access to the file or by making copies, and the investigator has to sometimes relinquish immediate control of access of their file's information. Up until now, there's really been no good way of automatically contain or share investigative data. This is where CETS comes in. CETS is the acronym, as I said before, for the Child Exploitation Tracking System. In 2003, Toronto Police Services Detective Paul Gillespie, like the rest of law enforcement, was struggling with criminals who were trafficking in child sexual exploitation materials on the Internet. Paul could see that law enforcement was falling further behind the technology curve, and the smart bad guys seemed to be able to keep just a step ahead of law enforcement with technology and hardware. Looking for some high-tech help, Paul actually sent an email to Bill Gates at Microsoft stating his case and asking Microsoft to step up and help law enforcement develop tools to bring the bad guys to justice. So Microsoft answered his plea with CETS. CETS began its existence in 2004, developed as a COTS or commercial off-the-shelf product. Microsoft built CETS in direct relation with and for law enforcement. Microsoft has continued to develop and enhance CETS based on the request and the direct input of the law enforcement agencies currently utilizing CETS. It is continually being expanded, updated, and enhanced, and inherits the new features and capabilities as the core Microsoft applications are improved. CETS is highly configurable and can be scaled from a basic lead intake and deconfliction tool all the way to a full-scale case management system. CETS is first and foremost is a tool for investigators, analysts, and other law enforcement personnel involved in combating child exploitation. When Microsoft designed CETS, they were focused on the development of a tool that would improve law enforcement's ability to ease data entry, enhance search capabilities, automate alert and notifications, share information, and establish an easier way to collaborate between investigators. Microsoft also incorporated a robust reporting mechanism. To make the investigative process easier on the personnel doing the work, Microsoft integrated several everyday functions into one application, incorporating database, portal, geospatial, and data analyst applications into one functional package. CETS provides for a coordinated approach to analyze, organize, link data, and a way to collaborate with other investigators in order to identify, interdict both individual and organized child exploitation activities. CETS enables local, national, and international law enforcement agencies and intelligence-related organizations to develop and enhance new raw criminal intelligence into case-worthy material and provide the method to collaborate with other investigators. We're all working toward a common goal of putting the bad guys in jail and protecting our children. So how does CETS help us do our job protecting children from online predators? CETS automatically searches newly entered data against existing data in the system. When matching data is located and its relativity is established by the investigator, CETS notifies the owner of the data that there may be a relationship between what they're working on and another investigation. This helps establish better collaboration, reduces duplication of effort, and saves valuable time. But CETS also allows restricting of notifications and sharing in the case of a sensitive investigation. The deconfliction abilities in CETS assist investigation divisions and departments and agencies to quickly identify and reduce the number of overlapping investigations and better utilize valuable assets. This is also an excellent tool to reduce blue-on-blue incidents. CETS eliminates the siloing of investigative data and provides tools investigators need to reduce duplicate and overlapping investigations and collaborate investigative efforts by creating an environment conducive to sharing and linking related information. Rest assured that the underlying information is not divulged without the investigator's authorization. Another significant benefit for law enforcement in CETS is CETS media tool. CETS provides a tool for investigators to perform searches for similar child exploitation images against a secure hash and a catalog of images stored within CETS. By identifying images that have already been categorized or identified, this can greatly reduce the actual number of images an investigator needs to manually review. Some agencies already using CETS have reported an 80% plus reduction in the number of images their investigators have had to review through the use of CETS. In addition, hashes and categorizations from other agencies can be incorporated into CETS. CETS is proven technology currently in use by law enforcement internationally. In Canada, CETS became a nationwide initiative under the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and currently links the child exploitation enforcement activities of 26 police agencies in Canada through the Canadian equivalent of our ITAC task forces. With Canada's involvement in the Virtual Global Task Force of the VGT and its sponsorship of CETS, the VGT evaluated and endorsed CETS as a law enforcement tool. In addition to the RCMP in Canada, VGT representative agencies in Australia, the Australian Federal Police, the UK, CEOP, which is the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Center, Italy, the Communications and Postal Police, and are currently using CETS. In the U.S., CETS is getting ready to come online with DHS, and the FBI is currently developing their CETS application. The International CETS Initiative has expanded the use of CETS to Spain, Brazil, Chile, and Romania. During my time as chief of the Child Exploitation section at DHS selected and developed CETS as its primary tool in lead development, lead deconfliction, and lead sharing within the agency, as well as a lead sharing option with domestic and foreign law enforcement. Microsoft has shown determination and corporate responsibility in supporting law enforcement in its mission to combat child exploitation. CETS is recognized as a valuable tool by several organizations involved in combating child exploitation, including the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Virtual Global Task Force, and the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Why should you consider CETS as an enforcement tool? CETS was designed by law enforcement for law enforcement to combat child exploitation. By design or by chance, CETS supports many activities performed in the intelligence cycle, which I'll touch base on more in just a moment. CETS benefits law enforcement by providing an environment for recording, organizing, and linking investigative data, deconflicting leads, identifying additional criminal intelligence, and ultimately providing sufficient data to establish probable cause for search and or arrest warrants. That's the goal. Today, CETS also provides a mechanism where investigators can visually see the relationships in their data and meets law enforcement's immediate needs around information searching and sharing. Another long-term benefit of CETS is that the more data that's entered into the system, the more robust CETS becomes in digital searches, link associations, historical activities of suspects and their relations to current and past investigations. The first few steps of the 6 steps shown in the intelligence cycle, requirements and planning, take place outside of CETS. For example, receiving and responding to child exploitation tips. CETS integrates the collected information and processes possible matching data and links. The investigator reviews the information and determines if there's enough actionable information to proceed further. As additional data is gathered, CETS continues to support the investigator with the continued processing of data into intelligence for analysis to form a workable investigation, and then the investigator can act upon the additional knowledge he's gained. To collect data, we know there will be 3 things to facilitate the opportunity for a crime. Those are represented in the next 2 slides, the crime triangle. Child exploitation cases, like other cases, require 3 things: an offender, a place, physical or digital, and a target or victim. These 3 things together are referred to by the Center for Problem-Oriented Policing as the problem analysis or crime triangle. As we all know, for a crime to occur, there needs to be someone looking to do harm, the offender, a location for crime to be committed that's not regularly or easily monitored, which is the place, and unfortunately in this crime type, a target who's not protected by a guardian, the victim. Within CETS, there's a direct correlation to the crime triangle. The offender may be known by an address, IP address, a screen name, an email address, an alias, or maybe an actual name. The place can be physical or digital, and as we know, in child exploitation cases, more often than not, it involves the internet as one of the places. Places can be chat rooms, social networks, websites, peer-to-peer environments, as well as other online resources, or an actual physical brick-and-mortar location. The target of the victim, in this case, is normally a child, who may or may not be known, or may only be identified by a photograph. CETS was designed to work with each of these unique types of information, knowing that each provides a different level of anonymity. Solutions Microsoft CETS. Displayed, you see a collage of CETS menus and screen information. The unassigned investigations are base intelligence received but not yet assigned to an investigator. My investigations gives the investigator instant visual reference and access to all investigations and related links assigned to him. The View All Site Contents tab gives the investigator one-stop shopping to add new investigations, add linked data, and search on specific entities. If you notice, there's also the ability to conduct bulk hash queries on the image hashes. Before CETS, law enforcement had to leverage individual tools to combat exploitation on a case-by-case, office-by-office basis, using separate tools for separate tasks. For example, investigative data initially stored in a physical lead or intelligence file. If the data was developed into something workable, it would then be entered into the agency's case management system. Images of interest, other documents, and electronic evidence retained, as well as forensics information, were stored in a case file outside the case management system. CETS brings all the investigative data and relevant evidence together as a link or attachment in a single location for the investigator or the assigned team members to access. Let's take a quick look at the CETS link analysis. Investigators utilizing CETS benefit from a built-in link analysis. This provides the investigator with a visual representation of the information in their investigation. The linking is done automatically and does not need to be done manually by the investigator, which makes it somewhat agent-proof. This allows the investigator to visualize their investigation and identify possible links to other items or investigations they're not aware of. Investigators with the appropriate access can view the links and the interconnections between other investigations. CETS works very well with public source information. CETS has tremendous capabilities to ingest external data such as IP, URL, and ISP lookups that result in a direct savings time benefit to the investigator. Identification analysis assists the investigators by searching for online identities across multiple public sources such as Google, Yahoo, MSN Space, etc. CETS also has a geospatial lookup capability to show possible relationships between violators' residences, schools in the area, parks, and possibly victims' locations. CETS identifies several types of investigative entities. CETS stores within the investigation the information needed to fully document persons, addresses, IP addresses, online identities, online resources, and allows for several types of attachments. Persons could be a suspect, a related person of interest, the victim, a parent, a guardian, or a witness. Information about the addresses, the physical location of the involved parties of interest, which can be mapped to allow investigators to identify areas of interest nearby. Information about the IP address could be a source where the offender is accessing the internet, a source where the victim is accessing the internet, a source facilitating or proxying communication. Information about online identities can be aliases, email addresses, screen names, nicknames, GUIDs, anything you need. Online resources is the information on websites, chat rooms, social networks, and such. CETS also allows for the attachment of related documents directly to the investigation. Let's take a look at some of the CETS media capabilities. Photos can be imported from forensic tools like MCase. In addition to the standard hash value of an image, Microsoft's Photo DNA has been incorporated, which works as a possibility or probability of match to identify similar images. I'll touch base on that in just a minute. The DNA is stored in the database for fast, secure searches. The images can be opted to be stored in an encrypted format. Images can be matched and categorized with relevant images being imported and stored in CETS for comparison. Law enforcement can additionally benefit from collaborating with regional, federal, and international agencies who've already viewed these images and might have the series identified and ready for review. If you look at the screen, you'll see how there's a picture of dogs with same dog, different backgrounds. This is one of the technologies that Microsoft has. It ignores that and looks directly at the object. Even if you turn the object upside down, it'll tag it. Additionally, for image analysis, Microsoft is using the vector analysis, which I mentioned just the slide before, on image, which allows for the identification of similar images by comparing vectors from one image to another. Also, as I mentioned in the last slide, Microsoft's PhotoDNA, which has been integrated into CETS version 2.2, is an example of how an update is directly benefiting CETS users. As the CETS application evolves, the goal is to provide direct object recognition in photos, such as if you're looking for a license plate or something like that, the software will actually find that license plate in another image. As an example of the vector analysis, if you look at the top two images, the backgrounds are different, but as you'll see, the points that the software keys on, like on the dog's hip, the dog's front paws, and the object in the snow up above, that's what it keys on. So you're not looking for position or actual color. The vectoring actually keys in on those points and does the analysis that way. The lower two photos for PhotoDNA, you'll see that it is the same dog, but the dog's head is in a different position. Microsoft's PhotoDNA analyzes the image and will pull these up for human review to show that they look to be possibly the same image. What are some of the results for law enforcement? CETS helps investigators maintain full control over their investigative data while facilitating information sharing and collaboration. Now, many nations, including the United States, are very sensitive about the disclosure of personal identifiable information, or PII. By keeping the investigator in control of the data, PII is protected from the unintended or unauthorized disclosure. CETS also provides the ability to share data between agencies if there is a trust agreement established. CETS is the tool being used by law enforcement worldwide to assist in the battle against child exploitation. It does not replace an investigator, but provides assistance to maximize their analysis and investigation capabilities. As historical data increases, the analysis capability of CETS increases. The design of CETS makes collaboration between offices and agencies extremely easy. Microsoft has acknowledged that immixGroup is a leader among only a handful of worldwide partners certified on the base Microsoft CETS technology. In addition, we're the only partner implementing CETS as an operational and live solution to a customer site in the United States. Microsoft has recognized the work being done on DHS's implementation of CETS and immixGroup's role in the development and implementation of CETS at DHS. We've also recognized our role through our interaction with the CETS development staff in shaping how CETS features are implemented. Well, that's about it. I'd like to thank you for taking time to attend our presentation on protecting children from online predators and reviewing what we've been doing with law enforcement implementation of CETS and the benefits they're gaining from that use. By the way, if you're attending the Dallas Crimes Against Children's Conference, we'll be in booth 506 and invite you to come by and say hi. Also, if you'd like to continue this conversation on Twitter, at hashtag CETSwebinar, feel free to ask any questions you may have there, or in just a few minutes we'll be answering questions. Again, thank you for your time. If you'd like more information regarding CETS, please feel free to contact me directly. There's my email address. If you'd like more information about immixGroup's IT Solutions Division, please contact Jared Hollis, the Senior Manager of immix's IT Solutions, or Phil McGarrow, the Division's Vice President. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
All right, well, thank you, Claude. I invite our attendees now to toggle back to the original viewing screen by clicking on the full screen button again. In addition to Claude, Jared Hollis is also here to answer any questions you may have. So if you do have a question, please type it into the pod to the left of the main screen. We're going to try to get to everybody's questions, but if we do run out of time, we'll be sure to respond to you all via email. Okay, a couple questions that are coming in from our attendees right now. Number one, we have a question of how do the images actually get on the server?
They were manually input or enrolled into the system.
Okay. What is the difference between vector analysis and photo DNA?
Vector analysis keyed in more on specifics of the image, whereas photo DNA takes a little bit longer to process. It takes the image in its totality and looks for small changes that might indicate that it's the same image. It's a newer technology.
Great. If CETS is storing only the hash, what happens to the image?
The image can be saved through SharePoint, either on a secure server by itself, or it can be encrypted into SharePoint as a resident image. It stores the hashes there and the DNA there for quicker reference and quicker search capabilities instead of calling up the image each time.
Great. Next question was, what do I need to run CETS?
Hi, this is Jared Hollis, Senior Manager with immixGroup IT Solutions. Microsoft currently makes CETS available to law enforcement as long as you have an existing license of Microsoft Windows Server, SharePoint, and SQL Server. If you have a SharePoint installation, you probably already have SQL Server and a Windows Server, so that's the key point there.
Okay. Getting back to the data and the images, where is the data stored? And our contraband images stored on the servers as well?
As far as the contraband images, there's two different options for that. Some installations have the CETS install on one server where the images are stored in a database that's secure. You can also opt to more or less have two CETS installs, one that is just for images on a secure standalone server, or you can, and then the other part would be the textual data on a separate server where you have general access.
And who puts the images on the server?
That's done manually by the investigator. Someone has to look at the image and verify if it's actionable or not, whether it's part of the series or not. So there is some human intervention. Where CETS benefits that is once you've identified an image as being actionable or part of a series, that stays resident. So as that image is reviewed again, it automatically lets you know that it's been identified, which precludes you from having to look at it again.
Okay, and how can I get access? How do I get CETS?
That's where you can work with immixGroup IT Solutions. We can make sure that we put you in touch with the correct people at Microsoft. Microsoft does this as part of their corporate social responsibility. They want to make sure that they're providing this to law enforcement. And so you can work with us, and we can make sure that we get CETS in your hands.
All right. Our next question is, who manages or controls the server, and where is that located?
The server is at your agency. You can develop it to where it will communicate with other, it has capability of communicating with other CETS applications. That's where the share agreement and the trust agreement comes in. If you have a large agency, you can have a central server that everyone can access either by VPN or by a secure network. No one handles the data except you. It is your data, stays at your agency.
Okay, great. All right, well, I wanted to thank you, Claude, and also Jared again. That about wraps up our presentation, Protecting Children from Online Predators. I wanted to thank everybody online for your time today. For those questions we weren't able to get to, we will definitely reach out to you individually. And we will provide you with an archive link of the presentation in the next couple days. In the meantime, if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at cets-info@immixgroup.com. And don't forget to stop by our booth and visit us next month at the DCAT conference. Again, thank you for your time and attention today.